Welcome back to our channel History Coins HD. As you that old as gold, but these rare $quarter coins that are most valuable than you think, don't spend one of them. You're lucky if you have one of these, so please watch complete video and find your treasure. Let's start this. Top 1, we're diving into the fascinating story of a coin that many people overlook, the 1978 Washington $quarter from the United States, and believe it or not, some of these coins are turning up with a value that could completely change your day, or your bank account. Now, I know what you're thinking. A 1978 quarter? That's not even that old. And you're right, it's not ancient. But in the world of coin collecting, it's not always about how old something is. It's about how rare it is, what condition it's in, and whether it holds any surprises that could make collectors scramble to get their hands on it. And this humble quarter from the late 70s checks some very interesting boxes. So let's rewind for a second. The Washington quarter has been a staple of American currency since 1932, when it was first issued to honor the 200th birthday of George Washington. By 1978, the design hadn't changed much. On the obverse, or front side, you've got the unmistakable profile of George Washington himself, strong, confident, with the word liberty above and the motto, "In God We Trust," to the side. Flip it over, and you see the American eagle, wings spread, perched on a bundle of arrows with olive branches below, a powerful symbol of peace through strength. At first glance, the 1978 quarter doesn't seem particularly special. Millions were minted, mostly in Philadelphia and Denver. It was a workhorse coin, used daily in vending machines, lunch lines, gas stations, and arcades. So what could possibly make this coin so valuable? Well, here's where things get exciting. In the world of numismatics, that's the study and collection of coins, condition is everything. Most of the quarters from 1978 have been beaten up by decades of circulation. They've got scratches, dings, worn-out features, and all of that lowers their value. But every so often, someone discovers a 1978 quarter in pristine, uncirculated condition. That alone can make it worth far more than face value, but wait, there's more. What truly sends the value of these coins soaring is the presence of minting errors. We're talking about mistakes that happened during the coin's creation. Think double strikes, off-center images, missing letters, or coins that were struck on the wrong metal planchet. These aren't just factory flaws, they're collector gold. They're rare, often one of a kind, and they drive up demand in a big way. Imagine pulling a coin out of your pocket and realizing the eagle on the back is off-center, or Washington's profile is doubled. That tiny difference, invisible to the untrained eye, could make your coin hundreds, or even thousands, of times more valuable. And with the 1978 quarter, there are known examples of such errors out there, still hiding in plain sight. Collectors pay close attention to mint marks, too. A 1978 quarter with a D mark means it was minted in Denver, while no mint mark indicates Philadelphia. Some quarters from these mints had striking variations or die errors that make them stand out from the crowd. Combine that with a coin that's never been circulated, and suddenly, you're not just holding 25 cents, you're holding a potential treasure. Another thing collectors love? Coins with sharp details and strong luster, what's called a high-grade strike. These coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70. A quarter that scores a 68 or higher is incredibly rare, especially if it has no visible marks under magnification. Those are the kinds of coins that end up in auction houses, fetching serious bids from serious buyers. And then, there's the Holy Grail, a 1978 quarter that not only has a high grade and an error, but also a provenance, or a verified story behind its discovery. These coins are practically celebrities in the coin world. They don't just get stored in coin folders, they get put in display cases, featured in collector magazines, and spark bidding wars among collectors who just have to have them. You might be wondering, how do I know if my 1978 quarter is valuable? The answer is simple: check it carefully. Look for any unusual features. Use a magnifying glass or a jeweler's loupe to inspect the details. Is the strike unusually strong? Are there any doubling effects on the lettering or Washington's face? Is the edge reeded properly? And most importantly, is the coin in perfect or near perfect condition? If the answer to any of those questions is yes, you might want to have it appraised. Take it to a trusted coin dealer, or submit it to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. They'll examine it, grade it, and certify its authenticity. That certification alone can skyrocket your coin's value. Now, For the part you've been waiting for, how much could one of these rare 1978 Washington quarters actually be worth? It's hard to believe, but one specific high-grade, mint-error version of this coin, discovered and verified by experts, has been valued at a jaw-dropping $88,000. That's right, $88,000. All from a simple coin most of us have probably held in our hands without a second thought. So next time you're going through your loose change or clearing out your coin jar, take a closer look. That ordinary-looking quarter might just be a hidden treasure. If you found this video interesting, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe for more amazing coin stories, and tap the notification bell so you never miss an episode. We've got more fascinating finds, hidden gems, and shocking coin values coming your way very soon. Until next time, happy collecting, and may your next coin be a lucky one. Top 2. Whether you're a hardcore numismatist or just someone curious about coins, today's video is going to open your eyes to one coin you may have never thought twice about. It's the 1988 Washington quarter dollar. Sounds ordinary, right? But trust me, after this video, you'll never look at your change the same way again. Now, let's start with a simple question. How many times have you picked up a quarter, used it for a parking meter, or dropped it in a vending machine without a second glance? For most of us, quarters are just a part of everyday life. But not all quarters are created equal. And the 1988 Washington quarter is proof of that. First off, let's talk about what makes this coin seem so ordinary. It was minted in large numbers, over 560 million of them were struck at the Denver Mint in 1988. That little D under Washington's neck? It stands for Denver, and that mint mark is usually the first thing collectors look for when identifying where a coin was made. At first glance, nothing about this quarter screams rare or valuable. It has the same iconic portrait of George Washington on the front, originally designed by John Flanagan in 1932. It has the eagle on the reverse, wings outstretched, standing proudly above a bundle of arrows with olive branches beneath, a timeless American image. But here's the catch. Among those hundreds of millions of quarters, a tiny handful have something different. Something that separates them from the rest. It could be an unnoticed minting error, a flaw in the die, a strike anomaly, or a difference in the metal composition, and these small differences are exactly what collectors are hunting for. Because when it comes to coin collecting, it's the smallest imperfections that can bring the biggest rewards. In the case of the 1988 quarter, several rare versions have surfaced with minting errors that were never meant to exist. Some show doubling, where parts of the design appear twice, due to a slight misalignment during striking. Others have been struck off-center, creating a unique crescent shape where the rim disappears on one side. A few examples even appear to have been struck on planchets meant for different denominations, an extremely rare mistake that instantly skyrockets a coin's value. And then there's condition, one of the most critical factors when it comes to evaluating a coin's worth. Most of the 1988 quarters out there have been through the ringer. They've been spent, dropped, scraped, and rubbed down by decades of circulation. But now and then, someone stumbles upon a 1988 quarter that looks practically brand new. No scratches. No dullness. Just a bright, brilliant shine and crisp details from edge to edge. That's what collectors call a high-grade coin, and when you combine that kind of condition with a rare error, you're looking at something truly special. Professional grading services like PCGS and NGC evaluate coins on a 70-point scale. A 1988 quarter that scores 65 or higher, especially if it includes a minting error, is incredibly rare. It's the kind of coin that doesn't just sit in someone's collection, it ends up in an auction house, featured in magazines, and chased by collectors who will pay serious money to own it. What makes the 1988 quarter even more intriguing is that it's still flying under the radar. Unlike older coins or well-known rarities, many people have no idea that a 1988 quarter could be worth anything more than face value. That's part of the magic. It's still out there. It could be hiding in your couch cushions, sitting in your car's cup holder, or buried in a jar of change you've been meaning to take to the bank. So how do you spot one of these potentially valuable coins? First, examine it closely, and we mean really closely. Use a magnifying glass or jeweler's loupe to check for doubling on the letters or numbers. Look at the edges for signs of off-center striking. Does anything look unusual about the metal or the design? Is there any part of the coin that seems thicker, thinner, or distorted in any way? These could all be signs that your coin is something special, and if your 1988 quarter looks untouched, with no signs of wear, it might be worth sending in to be professionally graded. A certified coin with a rare error in high-grade condition has value far beyond the spare change drawer. It becomes part of American coin history, a small metal disc that holds a huge story. Now, after all this talk about rarity, condition, and collector appeal, you're probably wondering what a coin like this could actually be worth. And the answer might just blow your mind, because one extremely rare and high-grade version of the 1988 D Washington quarter, a coin with both a striking mint error and pristine condition, has been valued at an astounding $80,000. Yes, you heard that right. $80,000. From a 25-cent coin that many people wouldn't give a second glance. That's the thrill of coin collecting. It's not just about money, it's about the discovery, the history, and the chance that something extraordinary could be hiding in plain sight. So go ahead, dig through your change jar, flip over that quarter, and look for that little D. Who knows? You might be holding something worth more than you ever imagined. Top 3. We're diving deep into a coin that might seem ordinary at first glance, but don't let it fool you. This is a coin that could be sitting unnoticed in your kitchen drawer, your car's cup holder, or that old jar of coins collecting dust in the corner of your room. It's the 1995 P Washington quarter dollar, and what we're about to tell you just might make you check every quarter you come across from now on. The 1995 P quarter comes from an era that most people don't associate with rare coins. Let's be honest, the 90s don't exactly scream historic treasure, right? But here's where it gets interesting. In the world of numismatics, sometimes the most valuable coins aren't the oldest. They're the ones that were quietly minted, widely circulated, and almost forgotten, except for a rare few that hold secrets worth thousands. Let's rewind to the mid-1990s. It was a time of booming pop culture, rapid technology, and a whole lot of quarters being pumped into vending machines, arcades, and laundromats. In 1995 alone, over 1 billion Washington quarters were minted in Philadelphia. That's what the little P on the coin stands for. With that many produced, you'd think these coins would be completely common. And for the most part, they are, but within that massive sea of coins, a few extremely rare and special pieces were struck, and they are worth far more than their face value. And if you're lucky enough to have one, you could be sitting on something truly valuable. Let's talk about what makes this coin stand out. The Washington quarter has been around since 1932, featuring the familiar profile of George Washington on the front. The design is simple, patriotic, and deeply rooted in American tradition. But what makes the 1995 P version interesting isn't just its design, it's the tiny imperfections and specific minting characteristics that only the trained eye will notice. Some 1995 P quarters were struck with what's called a double die. This means that during the minting process, the coin design was accidentally impressed twice, causing certain features, like the date, the lettering, or parts of Washington's face, to appear doubled. This is not something you'll easily notice unless you look carefully, but collectors go crazy for coins with doubling because they are extremely rare and always in high demand. Others might show an off-center strike, meaning the coin wasn't properly aligned when it was minted, resulting in a distorted image that cuts off part of the design. There are also examples of quarters struck on the wrong planchet, for example, on a blank mint for a dime. That makes the coin smaller, thinner, and extremely valuable because it shouldn't exist at all. And then, of course, there's the issue of condition. Most of the 1995 P quarters out there are worn down, faded, and scratched from years of use. But if you happen to find one that's in near perfect condition, known in the collecting world as mint state, the value goes way up. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70, and a coin that's been preserved in pristine condition, graded MS67 or higher, is extremely rare. These are the coins that never saw the inside of a pocket or the bottom of a cash register. They were saved, stored, and protected, and collectors are willing to pay top dollar for them. So how can you tell if your 1995 P quarter is one of the rare ones? First, look at the overall condition. If the coin looks shiny and crisp, with no visible signs of wear, that's a good start. Next, inspect the lettering and numbers with a magnifying glass. Do you notice any doubling in the words "In God We Trust" or the date? Check the edges too. Is the image perfectly centered? Any misalignment, missing details, or strange textures could be a sign of a rare mint error. These might sound like small things, but to the right buyer, those little quirks can mean the difference between a regular 25-cent coin and a once-in-a-lifetime find. Coins like this don't just sit in change jars. They end up in coin shows, private collections, and high-stakes auctions. And more importantly, they bring real cash value. Now let's get to the part you've been waiting for, the real reason you're watching this video. After all, everyone wants to know what the best case scenario looks like. Well, believe it or not, one specific example of a 1995 P Washington quarter, perfectly preserved, with a rare mint error and verified by professional graders, has reached an unbelievable auction value. That single, ordinary-looking quarter has been valued at $73,000, yes. $73,000. For one coin. A coin that many people would spend without thinking twice. A coin that might be sitting in your wallet, your drawer, or your collection right now. So before you spend your change or cash in that old coin jar, take a few minutes to check your quarters. Look for the date. Check the mint mark. Examine every detail. Because one small discovery could turn spare change into serious money. If you loved this video and want to learn more about rare coins, surprising values, and real-life stories of people striking it rich with pocket change, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss out. We've got more amazing finds coming your way, and who knows? The next big coin discovery could be yours. Top 4. We're about to reveal the story of a coin that might look like any other at first glance, but is actually a hidden treasure. That's right, we're talking about the 1996 D Washington quarter dollar. And now, before you go digging through your change jar or flipping over every quarter in your wallet, stay tuned. Because there's a lot more to this coin than meets the eye, and if you're lucky enough to have the right one, it could completely change your perspective on what loose change really means. Let's start with the basics. The Washington quarter has been part of American currency since 1932. It was originally created to commemorate the 200th birthday of George Washington and has since become one of the most recognized and widely circulated coins in the United States. The design has remained largely the same for decades: the strong profile of George Washington on the front, the powerful American eagle on the back, and the solid, patriotic feel that makes it instantly recognizable. So what's so special about the 1996 D version? Well, in 1996, the Denver Mint, that's what the D stands for, struck hundreds of millions of quarters. In fact, over 900 million 1996 D quarters were minted that year. That's nearly a billion coins. So, you might assume that none of them could possibly be rare. But in the world of coin collecting, rarity doesn't always come from the number of coins made, it comes from the number of coins that survived with something different. Something special. Something valuable. That's where this story takes a turn. Among those hundreds of millions of coins, a small handful of 1996 D quarters were struck with unique characteristics: tiny minting errors, unusual metal variations, and extremely high-grade finishes that make them incredibly desirable to collectors. And if you're lucky enough to find one of these rare versions, you're not holding a common quarter. You're holding a hidden gem. Let's talk about mint errors first. During the minting process, a coin goes through several steps, and sometimes, just sometimes, something goes wrong. A misaligned die, a double strike, a clipped planchet, or an incorrect metal blank can lead to coins being released into circulation with oddities that weren't supposed to happen. These are called mint errors, and for collectors, they are pure gold. A 1996 D quarter with a double die, meaning the design appears slightly doubled, especially around the letters or numbers, is one example. Another is a coin struck off-center, where the image is shifted and part of the design is missing. And then there are the incredibly rare ones, coins struck on the wrong metal planchet altogether, which means they're lighter, smaller, or have a different color or feel than a typical quarter. These error coins are almost impossible to find, but when they do show up, they make waves in the collector world. And then, there's the condition of the coin. You might be surprised to learn that the most valuable coins aren't just the oldest ones, they're the ones that have been perfectly preserved. A coin that was never used, never circulated, never tossed into a soda machine or scraped across a counter. These coins are called mint state, and they're graded on a scale from 1 to 70. The closer the coin is to 70, the higher its value. Most coins from 1996 are scratched, worn, and dull. But a 1996 D quarter in mint state, especially one with a rare error, becomes something entirely different. Imagine finding a coin that looks like it just rolled off the mint floor yesterday, no nicks, no wear, perfectly sharp details, brilliant luster. Now add a rare mint error to the mix, and you've got something truly exceptional. These are the kinds of coins that don't just sit in change jars or coin folders, they end up in private collections, professional auctions, and museum quality displays. Now, you might be wondering how to spot one of these valuable 1996 D quarters. It all starts with careful observation. Pull out your magnifying glass and inspect the coin closely. Look at the lettering. Are any of the letters or numbers doubled? Check the edges. Is the strike centered? Does anything look unusual or off compared to other quarters? Feel the weight, observe the color. Sometimes, the smallest difference is worth the most money. If you think you've got something special, don't guess, get it graded. Professional services like PCGS or NGC will analyze your coin, assign it an official grade, and certify its value. That certification can make a world of difference when it comes to selling or trading your coin. It also gives you a peace of mind knowing that you've got something authentic and potentially very valuable. And now, here's the moment you've been waiting for. Among all the known examples of the 1996 D Washington quarter, there exists an extremely rare version, a coin in flawless condition, with a known minting error, certified by experts, and coveted by collectors across the country. That single quarter has been valued at an astonishing $68,000. Yes, you heard that right. $68,000. For one coin. A coin that could easily go unnoticed in a handful of change. That's the magic of coin collecting. That's the thrill of discovery. And that's why you should always take a second look at the change in your pocket. So the next time you're about to drop a quarter into a vending machine or toss it into a tip jar, pause for a moment. Flip it over. Look for that D mint mark. Check the date. It might just be the coin that turns your everyday routine into a once-in-a-lifetime find. Top 5. We're going deep into a coin that many people have held in their hands, and most have spent without a second thought. But as you're about to find out, not all quarters are created equal. This is the fascinating tale of the 1998 D Washington quarter dollar, a coin that looks ordinary but could be worth more than you'd ever expect. Let's be honest. When you think of valuable coins, your mind probably jumps to the old stuff, ancient silver dollars, Civil War era cents, maybe even gold coins from the 1800s. And sure, those are legendary. But sometimes, it's the modern coins, the ones minted during our lifetimes, that hold the most surprising secrets. The 1998 D quarter is one of them. This was a time before the state quarters program launched in 1999. Quarters were still struck with the classic Washington design, the proud profile of America's first president on the obverse and the iconic American eagle on the reverse, wings spread and perched on a bundle of arrows with olive branches beneath. A bold image of strength and peace. Familiar. Comfortable. Unchanged for decades. But among the millions minted in 1998, something unusual happened. The D mark just beneath Washington's neck tells us this coin was minted in Denver. And in that year, the Denver Mint struck hundreds of millions of quarters. Yes, you heard that right, hundreds of millions. So you might be asking, how can a coin that was made in such huge numbers possibly be rare? The answer lies in the details, the small differences that most people miss. Because within that mountain of 1998 D quarters, a few coins came out different. Not obviously, not dramatically, but just enough to make them incredibly valuable to collectors with a keen eye and a deep love for numismatic treasures. Let's talk about what can make a 1998 D quarter rare. First, and maybe most importantly, are minting errors. These are unintentional mistakes that happen during the coin's production. Sometimes, the dies that strike the coin are misaligned, creating off-center images. Sometimes the coin is struck more than once, creating a doubled image. Other times, the wrong metal is used, a planchet intended for a dime, for example, or a coin pressed on a thin strip of metal that causes it to weigh less than it should. Each of these errors is incredibly rare, especially when it comes to coins minted in more recent decades. And when collectors find these oddities, they don't treat them like pocket change. They treat them like buried treasure, but mint errors aren't the only thing that matters. Condition plays a huge role too. Most of the quarters from 1998 D have seen it all: decades of wear and tear, machines, hands, pockets, wallets, car cup holders. The details fade, the edges wear down, and the luster disappears. But every once in a while, a coin survives in almost perfect condition. No scratches, no dings, brilliant shine, and sharp detail in every ridge and letter. These are the coins graded as mint state, and the higher the grade, the closer to a perfect 70, the more valuable the coin becomes. Now picture this, a 1998 D quarter that's not only in flawless mint condition but also has a verified minting error. That's the coin every serious collector dreams about. It's not just currency anymore, it's a piece of American minting history. And coins like that don't go unnoticed for long. So, how can you tell if your 1998 D quarter might be one of the rare ones? First, grab a magnifying glass and take a close look at the lettering and numbers. Check for doubling, especially on the words United States of America, Liberty, or the date itself. Then, look at the edges. Is the coin perfectly round? Is the strike centered? Are there any unusual textures or lines in the metal? Weigh the coin if you can. A standard Washington quarter weighs 5.67 grams. If yours comes in under or over that, and you're sure your scale is accurate, you could be holding a coin struck on the wrong planchet, which is one of the most sought-after types of errors. Even if your coin looks pretty normal, don't rule it out. A rare coin doesn't always look strange at first glance. If it has no wear, has been kept pristine, and has a clear, sharp strike, it's still worth investigating. Your next step is to have it professionally graded by a trusted coin grading service like PCGS or NGC. These experts will certify your coin's condition and let you know if you've got something truly rare, and trust me, if you do, it could be worth far more than 25 cents, which brings us to the grand finale, the big reveal you've been waiting for. Among the rarest known 1998 D Washington quarters, one coin stood out. It had both a striking mint error and an exceptionally high grade, verified, certified, and celebrated by the numismatic community, and that single coin has been valued at a remarkable $65,000, yes. $65,000. All from a coin that most people would spend on a gumball or a parking meter without a second glance. That's what makes coin collecting so exciting. You never know what hidden treasures are already in your hands. So the next time you check your change, pause for a second. Look closely at those quarters. One of them might be more than just spare change, it might be your golden ticket to an unexpected payday. If you enjoyed this deep dive into a modern coin with an extraordinary story, give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and tap the bell so you don't miss our next coin discovery. There's a world of forgotten value in your pockets, and we're here to help you find it. Thanks for watching, and as always, happy hunting.